Well, hey there everyone, Jay here at Lived and Learned DIY. So today I'm going to be working on planting potatoes. I've got some seed potatoes here and I want to show you guys all the steps I go through in order to get those things in the garden and get them to start growing. So as you folks can see, right here are my seed potatoes. They actually already got some little sprouts on them, which is great. This particular variety of potatoes, they're a white potato. They're called Kennebec or Kennebec, depends on what part of the country you're from. But anyway, I'm going to show you the steps and the process that we use in order to grow those. Here's the first step to us getting our potatoes ready for the garden. So we take them here from the box and we split them like that. You want this part to heal over a little bit, get a little bit of a skin on it, and then you put them out in the garden. You may be asking yourself, Jay, why did you cut those potatoes in half? Well, there's a lot of theories about why you do that. I'm going to share mine, my thoughts, and why I do it. I think the primary reason that most people did it was it's a hold off or hold back to probably the Great Depression days. And I know we're 100 years removed from the Great Depression, but that mindset in the country stays around forever. Daddy did it, grandpa did it, great grandpa did it, so we do it. I know you guys know, if you live in the country, about that whole mentality. Nothing wrong with it, nothing at all wrong with it, but I'm going to show you what I think and why I think these are done this way. I'm going to show you on the seed potatoes what we do. So we cut them in half, okay? We cut ours in half, and there's a lot of theories and debates around why you would do that. Actually, I think it all boils down to the fact that it just makes a potato go further. You can buy less potatoes and make more crop because it really doesn't affect it too much. You can plant a single potato just like this and it will grow, it'll make potatoes. You can cut them in half, it'll grow, it'll make potatoes. So if you cut them in half, you double your production. So I think that's the major reason why people do that. And again, I do think it goes all the way back to the Depression era. I really do, because I had grandparents that lived through the Depression era, and you had to do anything you could to survive. And this is just another way to do that. So follow through here, watch me cut these up and get ready to plant these later on. So. There's not actually a method to this, as some would think. I'm just cutting the potatoes in half. Now, a lot of your old timers, they would say, as long as it has one eye on it, which is one of these or these, where the sprouts come out right here, you can see that, sorry about that, right here, right here. As long as it's got that, it'll make a potato. So, I guess that's probably true, but I put out potatoes that didn't seem like they had any eyes on them, and they've done fine. So let me explain what I'm talking about here, folks. This potato right here is a perfect prime example of what I'm talking about. So if you don't understand what potato eyes are, that's the sprout, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like 9. We have 9 viable pieces. Now, obviously, you don't want to cut this up into 9 pieces. That would just be too much. But I'm leaving a good sized piece. You can see this in my hand right here. And that is how we turn a small amount of potatoes into a large amount of potatoes. I'm personally, for my garden, it's about 80 feet long. I would need about 80 pieces. So I'm going to count these out here in a few minutes to see where we're at. And because I put mine about a foot apart, I think that's a good distance. Some people go 16 inches, that's fine too. But going to do that here and then get ready to go home and actually till the garden again, and then we're going to put out a row of potatoes. That is all of the potatoes I need for my garden row. Now, what I've got left here are some small to medium sized seed potatoes that I'm going to use in containers. My wife enjoys growing in containers, so what I'm going to do is separate these out. We're going to put them in containers. You guys can see those a little better there. I'm going to cut these up, put them back in the box they came in, and then we'll put those out in containers at home, and we'll show you the harvest on those later, of course. But let's get that, and I'm almost finished here cutting up potatoes. Awesome. So we have a farm store here called the Co-op. We've got a Tractor Supply. The next town over has a Rural King. Have several places that sell seed potatoes, and if you live anywhere near a rural area, you'll find potatoes this time of year everywhere. Now, I'm actually getting a little bit of a late start. I like to plant these in early March, and now it's the end of March, but we've had some really strange weather, as most people have, this past March, February, March. 76 one day, 26 the next. We had rain, snow, sleet, ice, you name it. And so it's been an odd year, folks. That's all I can tell you. So basically we've got about 7 or 8 more potatoes cut up here, and then I'll be done with that. And then this afternoon my wife and I are going to put out some potatoes in the garden, so I'll get some recording of that as well. So I've got a question for you fellow gardeners that might be watching this video. On the potatoes, on seed potatoes especially, do you know what the black substance or black powdery substance is that's on the potatoes? Is that leftover dirt from where they start the seed potatoes, or is that like an inoculate type material or chemical that keeps them from sprouting prematurely? If you know, drop a comment, let me know what that is. I've always been curious about that, and I'd like to know. If any of you guys know, let me know. All right, I made it home with my bucket full of, or half full of cut potatoes, and got the garden plowed. You can see that. And then, you guys probably can't see on camera that orange string going out there, but you can probably see that all the way out there at the end. I'm gonna cut me a trench out through there, and then we're gonna drop our potatoes in. We got our row cut in with the hoe, garden hoe, and I go as deep as I can when I'm planting the potatoes, because you want to be way down the soil, that way they'll produce more. And then we're going to ridge these a couple times throughout the process of them growing, so the potatoes will get larger. And I dig that as deep as I can, and you know, it's kind of tough, but you hear me breathing heavy. It's about 80 feet long there, and we're gonna put the potatoes in. So, there you have it. Our potatoes are in the ground. So we just put one row out because we just can't store that many, and we don't use that many, but There's a 90 feet. I measured it off. I said about 75, but 90 feet long. We put them about 16 inches apart or so. And then I'm going out to the barn here behind me, you can see, to get some fertilizer. Now, the fertilizer is very specific. You want to use a specific style of fertilizer, and I will show you what that is in just a moment. So I checked in the barn, but I think I must have put it somewhere else. On your fertilizer for potatoes or any root crop, any crops grown below ground level, carrots, onions, potatoes, any of those, you want a very low nitrogen content. Nitrogen makes the tops grow. You don't want that. The tops, if you have big tops, you don't have big potatoes, you don't have big onions, you don't have whatever it is. You want your analysis needs to be low in nitrogen, high in phosphorus, and high in potash to make them grow underground. Above ground, nitrogen all the way. I'll use something like a 5-12-12, a 7-12-12, or even a 12-24-24. It just depends on what I've got here, but I do want something low in nitrogen just to make that the correct analysis. So just keep that in mind. Nitrogen for above ground, no nitrogen for below ground. So what I'm doing is my potatoes here and here, and the fertilizer's between them. So what that does is when we cover it all over, it causes that to slowly release into the roots as they're growing. You don't ever want to put fertilizer directly on the root or the seed potato, because it'll cause it to rot. So that's what I'm doing. I'm grabbing, I know about what it feels like to have a cup. I know it sounds crazy, but I've measured it, checked it. I put about a cup between each of the seed potatoes. Again, this was 7-24-24. So there you go. You guys can see behind me. Oh, there they are. Right there's one. Back there's the other. Those are some Martin boxes I built, installed, and we have some Martins back already. This is the end of March 2026. We actually have some Martins back, and so I thought that's pretty cool. Earlier in the video, when I was cutting potatoes, I was talking about the old timers and traditions. So I'll tell you something my grandmother used to do. She was religious about this. You had to step on every seed potato before you covered them. You had to make sure they were engaged fully with the soil. I have no idea if that is a thing or not, if that causes them to do any better. But hey, she did it all the time. She was super superstitious about that, I think. And she would go through, before she would cover them, she would actually push them down with her foot into the soil. So that's pretty funny. But we're getting ready to bury these potatoes. We're going to put a small heel on them right now, and then later on we'll come back and heel them a couple more times. So now you can see that we've put our ridge up through there all the way down. So now we're going to have a potato hill, and we'll just keep an eye on that. And when they start popping out, we'll they get about 4 or 5 inches tall, we'll ridge that thing up really heavily and keep it mounded up. You get more potatoes the more it's mounded, so keep that in mind.